Hey guys, welcome to another PvP commentary by Kevin Battleblood. So, it's been a long while. This match is from quite some time ago, about a month ago. We've just been very busy lately, especially me with a whole bunch of projects, transcribing for Ravenwood Radio, um, doing PvP parties, and just a lot of activities in the past month, in the past few weeks, including that mount giveaway. So I'm busy on Pet Gnome at the point at that at the moment as well. And as you can see, we've been doing well. Actually, as you can't see here, but in in what's gone on in the past few weeks, we've definitely been doing a lot of PvP. Fallon is now a warlord. I'm glad to announce. So, anyways, looking through here, we are up against Deirdre, Caroline, and two Sydneys. I think the two Sydneys are dual boxers, so that's probably one person. And I believe they have the balance, life, myth, storm combo, if I'm not mistaken. And you can automatically tell who the life player is just by the amount of shields that are being popped up. I mean, as you can see on both sides, we have shields being massed everywhere. And so look at this order. We have Fallon in the front. Not a good sign because there's no one to. She is our main hitter. If there's no one to cleanse her, there are going to be some play changes, and you'll see basically what I'm talking about in this game, in this match. And it's going to be very intense. We're going to have a lot of back and forths. As you can see, we're getting our convictions up, trying to prevent any surprise attacks. And here she is with an early rebirth, and I'm not sure it's just to spawn a pip and just give her allies an extra absorb, but here we go. We're getting stunned ourselves, or at least Fallon is. And the rest of us resisted, luckily. And it looks like, yeah, the storm is going to beef up her attack, so we know what's coming. I mean, if Ronan reciprocates with that stun right there, so we've got three of them, luckily. And knowing that that storm is now stunned and that myth is stunned, we're going to keep our stun shields for another round. And maybe Fallon can get up a conviction of her own. If not, we might have her hit. Assuming Deirdre doesn't dispel, but we never know, right? So she's going to go ahead and just prevent Sydney from playing a card. I mean, if Fallon gets dispelled by that balance, which is pretty likely, but not true in this case, at least Fallon would lose all her pips, and we would still look pretty intimidating, especially with that Storm Dispel out there. So, and I was expecting maybe the balance to play a Storm Dispel on Fallon, so I went ahead and played it, or some other card on Fallon, so I went ahead and cleansed her in case of a weakness of some sort, and we're going to prevent this Storm from acting. Now, what we should have done in this case was have one of us place another debuff on top of that Dissipate to block it from a surprise cleanse. Meanwhile, that balance is going to hit us really hard. We're looking at their pips, and just knowing that that balance is blading up even further, we figured, well, that storm's not going to hit us right away, but we don't really know that. And that myth player still has one blade, so huge hit coming into Fallon, as you can see, 1200 already taking her to about half life or so, and yeah, not looking good, especially going second. Really, such a major problem. Here we go. Here's a extra blade on top of the storm, but that myth is trying desperately to stun us and prevent us from moving, especially the ones with conviction of. But nope, Fallon's gonna go ahead and blind them even further, giving us some chances. And we're gonna get some blades here. Fallon's gonna get a boost, playing a double smoke screen in case the first one fails due to some sprightly accident, and to ensure that they cannot combo us efficiently. I mean, that's the one important thing. I mean, you can call it chain smoking, but we're not preventing them from doing. I mean, they are not guaranteed hits. So meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and hit as much as we can, try to slam down whoever, if possible. Light player is going to try to take up some pips. Myth player is probably trying to remove our stun shields. So I mean, again, that chain smoke right there, or at least not the chain itself, but just the smoke screen allowed us to give us a chance right here. And as you can see, I mean, just one huge bladed Stormlord already took out Ronan. He's not going to be able to play his part, and that's going to put us in major disadvantage, obviously. But we were hitting at that point, so we are going to put these guys on their guard. Going to try to hit that balance as hard as we can, knowing that Fallon has an attack, Ronan has an attack, I have an attack, Cats has an attack. So double smoke screen. We knew our mission was basically just take out the myth player. She cannot handle 3 attacks, right? So that's exactly what we did, and not looking good so far with the sprightly. But Ronan's taken out. Cass has full pips, so we and I guess the attack didn't register on either of us for some reason. I think we were stunned at that point. Maybe. Didn't really see it, but we knew. Okay, well, if Fallon dies, you know, we're gonna have to do a double rebirth at this point, because if they hit, you know, or if they dispel Cass, then she's going to lose her pips. We're not going to get that heal that we need, and so I went ahead and healed as well. Their life is putting that bubble to great use, just getting pips back per cast, and that Storm was probably trying to temp us, but nope. Gonna get rid of infection off of cast, so really good anticipation right there by Fallon. And we're going to throw a rebirth. We're going to get Ronan back up on his feet. We're going to recover any points, add some shields. Probably not enough, especially for Ronan. So I'm going to throw, I mean, that heal worked out and a critical. So we're all back on our feet again. And those absorbs should be stacked. I'm not sure which rebirth Cass had played, but going to go ahead and, I mean, looking at those myth pips, she has a combo. A Medusa of some sort after an earthquake. That's Stormlord going through, and probably a Nova from this balance. Let's see what she does. No, she's gonna go ahead and blade. So they're relying on their Storm as a main hitter, unfortunately. And here comes more shields for the life on herself. Yeah, earthquake. Go figure. And we're gonna see a stun coming in from the Stormlord, I believe. I mean, it has been a month since we played this match, and it's one of our toughest, one of our epic matches. So kept my promise from the last video, from the last commentary, that yeah, this one is, you're gonna learn a lot from this one. Yeah, first turn is doing a really nice job. I mean, look at how many pips they've got up. It's always intimidating. So here we go, bladed Stormlord with the bubble. And I apologize for the occasional yawns. It is midnight my time right now, and I did have a test today that I spent a good deal amount of time last night studying, kind of last minute, sorta. But anyways. Enough about that. So Cass is going to go ahead and try to heal that off. We're expecting a heal. We're hoping, hey, someone have cleanse by any chance, and Fallon's going to try to heal Cass in case of anything. Here is a dispel right there. So, ooh, I wonder if Ronan cleansed because, well, we didn't see his card what he played just now, but Fallon's going to throw a sprite in case they did do a single target attempt upon Cass. So Ronan was going to go ahead and play that cleanse, as you can see, so that dispels off. Fallon was dispelled. They were hoping for her to attack, but nope. So here we go. Being able to get that heal through. So again, I mean, You know, there's really nothing wrong with, and this is a pet peeve of mine because others have complained about it, but there's really not anything wrong about using spells outside of your own school. As you can see, it helps. I mean, Ronan, you know, you expect the dispel from coming from first turn. What are you gonna do? Sit there and not heal at all? So, you know, gotta have those surprises out there. Meanwhile, they are gonna blade her up even further, and they're just stacking blades. Or, I mean, it's ridiculous. Meanwhile, I mean, we're just showing, hey, even though Fallon has a Storm Dispel, and we do need to get rid of it, she doesn't always have to play Storm Spell. So here we go, little support. Fallon's going to build up Protect Cass, while Cass removes that Dispel for her. So again, a lot of teamwork. You have to act as a single body if you really want to get through some challenges. Otherwise, you know, if we didn't have that kind of cohesion and that trust with each other, then I think we would have fallen to this team like right about now. But oh, now we're intimidating again. So we're now forcing Sydney, in a way, to have to dispel Fallon, assuming that she'll hit. But again, there we go. See, you don't even need Sydney to dispel. It could be from someone else. So playing second against dispel teams, you really have to be very, very careful, of course. I mean, there should be no exception to how you play. And so we're going to go ahead and have, as you can see, Fallon play a card outside of her own school, that infection. Ronan's going to go ahead and blade even further. We were hoping to hit the turn afterwards, but not this time. Cass getting rid of a tower shield. And I'm going to use smoke to give our side some breathing room. Hopefully these guys are going to have to play defensive. They're not going to play offensive cards, because if they lose that card, it's going to show up somewhere outside of their deck. Meanwhile, going to have Fallon, you know, remove that Storm Dispel with the bubble. There's no harm in all that. And meanwhile, here comes a cleanse to remove that smoke screen. So really nice play by that balance player. Really good teamwork. She's going to add even more damage. So luckily I mean, just knowing that they had that cleanse, I'm going to go ahead and place a Storm Dispel on top of that. On top of their those weaknesses, so they cannot cleanse even further, and also to prevent her from hitting, hopefully. She could hit next turn, but she'll have all those weaknesses. Meanwhile, we're expecting, okay, she's not going to hit just yet. She may wand just to get rid of all those weaknesses, and we're going to try to mass the spells and give us a chance. Cass changed from a Storm Dispel. I said, I have a Storm Dispel. Go ahead and heal us, because if they cleanse that that storm, we are in big trouble. So let's go ahead and heal, assuming that they're going to hit. Unfortunately, Myth uses an earthquake, but at least the storm is dispelled. So we're not going to get stunned just yet, unless that storm carries like Blinding Light or Choke, but I don't think she does in this case. She's trying to save up her pips. Look at all those blades put onto one person like that. So I think we had started developing the mindset of, hey, we need to start carrying Earthquake for blade stackers, because, you know, a team that knows how to defend very well can put all their blades on one person and let it do their bidding. I mean, it's just kind of game over after that, but really the game's never over. You just have to dig, look for different strategies, look for different counters, and just overcome your different challenges. I mean, if you're having trouble against blade stackers, get rid of the blades. So we've started carrying Disarm, Steel Charms, Earthquakes, basically saying, hey, there's more than one way to play. You don't have to put blades on all in one person. And I mean, Perfect Catch is just always happy to demonstrate that with our games. So, you know, we don't need to put blades all in. I mean, it's all about adjusting to the situation per se. So here we go. Another Storm Dispel, and she's weakened by a Nova as well. So I think Ronan just stacked 3 times. I not mistaken, Cass is going to try to prevent that storm from moving even further. And it looked, I mean, at this point, you saw that she played a storm card into that dispel, and that's what we're thinking. Hey, they messed up. You know, that's the danger of dual boxing. You don't know. You're not paying attention to what debuffs on you because you're trying to take care of two characters. So, I mean, you can call it skilled and whatnot, but honestly, I would have to say you just have to. I mean, it's a lot more skill required when you're playing with 4 different people because you have to communicate. You have to develop teamwork. I mean, dual boxing is commendable, but not too much. So meanwhile, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of some storm shields. We're ready to have Fallon hit. Their storm is dispelled twice. The smoke screen on top of her. So yeah, they're not going to dispel Fallon. We're going to go ahead and hit. And she's going to heal with the infection, try to beef up all those absorbs on top of them so we cannot combo hit them. Meanwhile, here comes a stun. Yep. This game's going to be a little bit longer than we hoped. The storm's still not getting rid of... I think she has 2 storm spells. So, it's going to look dangerous. So meanwhile, okay, thinking, should we use Earthquake? And again, it's been a while since I've seen, so I think I told them don't use Storm Elf. I'm going to go ahead and use Earthquake anyway, because, I mean, if they put up any Storm Shields, it's not going to matter. So now we have Stun Shields. We're hoping the Myth doesn't play Earthquake, and then, well, the Storm can't really do anything at this point. So meanwhile, we managed to get some room because, hey, if they play like a multi-cleanse, they're going to allow that storm to hit and it's going to hurt. So go ahead, remove all, I mean, it'll remove the weaknesses, but hey, it'll remove the stun shields that they have and the storm shields and all those blades on top of her. You know, better than nothing. Yeah, that's a lot of damage considering there's a gargantuan on any of her attacks, plus a storm bubble. You really don't want to mess with that. Go ahead and make their team vulnerable. Plus that storm player was protected by the storm too, so might as well throw out all my pips. Well, not all, but 6 of them to remove shields from all players. And that was just the main point. Ready to empower. Definitely got to get my pips back. Cass is going to try to prevent. I mean, we're expecting them to shield heavily or blade her strongly. So she's not ready to AoE us. So Fallon's going to go ahead and dispel. Ronan is going to go ahead and plague. In case Fallon does get dispelled herself, I mean, she's not going to hit at this point. A life dispel, preventing our life dispel on top of her, so she was ready. Meanwhile, really nice plague right there, blocking any potential cleanse and versus on that storm right there. So our allies can't really help her unless they double cleanse, but that means she's going to end up hitting with a plague on top of her. Not gonna help our team all that much. Meanwhile, I'm trying to figure out what to do. Well, hopefully they cannot dispel Fallon. She's going to go ahead and try to stun for us while I smoke them, in case Fallon does get dispelled. I mean, she has a full rack of pips, so it's okay for us. Meanwhile, here we go. Trying to break off the... Oh, she's bladed, so I wonder what she's going to do at this point. She aims for Fallon, so again, another mistake on the dual boxers. Not paying attention on which charm went on last, and Plague did, as you can see. So now we've got that life player stunned entirely. Huge damage coming on to these other players. The Absorb's going to keep that player alive for a bit. Conviction prevents a stun on the first player, the balance. The other 3 are stunned now. So yeah, dual boxers, and especially in the 4v4s, you know, I don't care how careful you are, I don't care how great you are, that stuff ends up happening eventually. And you can, I mean, if they're two warlords and both Sydney Spellcaster, and seeing the way that she's played, I mean, you know, it's commendable, but wish she would just stick to one wizard. I mean, she just hurt her team twice in a row trying to hit through all that. Meanwhile, Ronan's gonna try to put the ante up with a Nova. We're hoping they can't stun us just yet unless the myth uses earthquake, but they have a smoke screen, so we don't know. It's not guaranteed. Those three players are stunned actually, so no dispels. We're gonna go ahead and hit again. Of course, the balanced player tries to protect the light player, but you know what? We have a surprise here. Fallon doesn't. If Fallon doesn't get any of the other players, we're gonna go ahead and use a Nova to clean up any residual health. So myth is gonna go down. Heck yeah, lost their pips, and she's lost her pips. That myth, I mean, that life wasn't able to do anything that turn. Thankfully to Fallon's stun. Meanwhile, Nova is gonna pop out, weaken her. So much for cleansing and double dispel, just expecting it. I mean, just shutting them down, preventing her from doing a crit heal especially, and a double entangle is just in case Sprightly pops off the first one. So, well, wondering what I should do. Looked like one of the dual boxes quit on accident again. Why? Sorry that I had to laugh, but dual boxing not so great. Apparently, I mean that's three screw ups. So I was wondering, why are you fleeing? I mean, it might be because of the rank. I'm not really sure, but yeah, did our part here. Gonna go ahead and shut them down even further. And yeah, they are definitely a tough team. But again, the dual boxer honestly messed it up for their team. Shouldn't have. What was it? Triple storm. Oh, I was commenting. At least you're not the quad storm teams or one fire, three storms. I am a huge fan of mixed teams, and this is a mixed team for sure. I mean, balanced life, myth, storm. I mean, you can see the potential combos in that, and they're doing a really, really nice job. We're playing all these single hits out of nowhere, take her out. So, anyways, GG. Thanks for watching another match, and I'll catch you later on.